we're excited to get out there and play against a really talented team in St. John's tomorrow. Obviously, it feels almost like an NBA playoff. We just played them a week ago, so our guys have great familiarity with them, and we were lucky and very fortunate to come away with a win in a really hostile environment at Carnesecca. I know we're going to get their best tomorrow. Like I said, I think they're one of the more talented teams, not only in our league but in the entire country. They're well coached. They're obviously guard dominant. They basically play 5 guards at all times, try to really stretch you, drive you. They try to play fast. I think we got to really control the tempo like we did in Game 1. Got to control the glass, which we did in Game 1 as well, and really take care of the ball. I think, again, St. John's is a team. They're first in our league in steal percentage. They try to create a lot of turnovers and create a lot of their offense off of their defense. And, last but not least, I'm excited to kind of honor, our 3 senior players, 5 senior student managers as well. I think I said it last night on the radio show, man, for those guys to commit without ever visiting Xavier, without ever stepping foot on campus, I think speaks volume to who they are as people, Zach, Kyle, and Ryan, but also, to the brand that we have here at Xavier. They want to play in meaningful games here in March. That's what each one of those guys said, and that's where we're at right now. We'll kind of see how we're moving forward, but we obviously got to have a great practice here today leading up to the St. John's game.
That game at St. John's, Najee really kind of carved them up, career-high 31 points. How much do you anticipate them kind of adjusting and saying, you know what, we're going to try to take him away and make someone else on the floor for you guys beat us? Is that something that you've kind of thought about?
Yeah. I think they did a pretty good job on him in Game 1. He made some tough shots. He obviously got a couple wide open looks early, kind of got himself going. There at the beginning of the game, he hit 2 threes, wide open threes. It's just kind of how they play, though. Again, I think the biggest thing is our guys have to have an understanding. It's not necessarily going to be the play, like a set play. It's going to be more about our free flow and then making the right plays when you play against a team like St. John's, or they try to take you out of your offense. Because they switch 1 through 5, basically at all times, ball screens wise, and try to stay out of rotation. So, I think it'll be a similar. He's going to get their best. Justin Simon's a terrific defender. He's one of the better defenders in our conference, and Najee's got to be ready. I know that, but our go-to guy is always going to be the open guy, whoever that is, and we just want our guys to make the right plays.
Najee said after the Butler game that his ankle had been sprained, but he felt okay. But I know he's been in a boot. What's his kind of status right now?
He didn't practice yesterday. I don't anticipate him practicing today either. It's kind of honestly day to day here. I know he'll want to play, obviously, and I think he will play, but I don't think it's not a guarantee that he's going to play either.
Actually, going back and watching kind of review of that tape, Zach scored the last basket that put you guys up at Butler, and then he came out for about 8 minutes. I just was curious about, was his defense not up to his offense, and what's your kind of philosophy on substituting the bigs? Yeah,
I think it's just more about defense, for ball screen defense for what Butler was trying to do to us. I thought we really guarded them down the stretch. They made some really hard shots, and give Kamar Baldwin credit. I don't know how he made a couple of those. And then we had some wide open looks, to be honest, and we didn't make our open ones. We were higher percentage shots, and that's the way the game goes sometimes. Again, I think a lot of these games are going to be close, and you always talk about we want quality of shot. That we want a higher quality of shot at our end, obviously, than our opponents. I thought we got that at the end of the game. Unfortunately, didn't bounce our way, but we got to take care of the game in the middle parts and not waste so many possessions, which I thought cost us against Butler.
Throughout the season, you guys have had to find a response at times, and coming off a 5-game winning streak, you lose a tough game at Butler, and now you need a response again. So what have you seen from your team? This is obviously something that they're familiar with, that they're comfortable doing. How do you think that they're kind of handling a really big game on the horizon here?
Yeah, I think, the message, I've given our guys so far is they're going to be playing with desperation. St. John's, we have to play with it too. Butler did the other night. So again, I think every game's a big game here at the end of the year. We have to be the hardest playing team, the toughest team on the floor. And, we're going to make some mistakes. We're not going to play a perfect game against St. John's, but our effort has to be perfect. That's for sure, to give us a chance to win. Because I think so many times you think all the years you've been to the NCAA tournament, and I met with a couple of our guys today, and you always kind of get a sense like some guys, they start to take the foot off the pedal. It's a long season. It is a long season. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And there's a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And as a coach, you're always trying to kind of recreate yourself, re-energize your group. So we're trying to do that because it is a long season. And, we again have been having some really good meetings with our guys individually and as a team. But we got to be the team that's playing with more desperation tomorrow against St. John's. That's for sure.
Obviously, this team, everything kind of starts with Shamari Pons. He's kind of their go-to guy, but they have other weapons, including Mustafa Heron, a guy that can come off the bench and make some baskets for them. Travis, what do you tell your team defensively to prepare for a team like that has so many guys that can shoot?
Yeah, I think, number one, you're right. Shamari Pons is a terrific guard. He can score the ball at all levels. He puts pressure on your defense constantly. He could be a human 12-0 one-man 12-0 run, real quick. He's like a microwave. But they have other guys. They do. L.J. Figueroa, he's a tremendous player. Simon's really good. Marvin Clark makes him really hard to guard. They're playing him at the 5, at the 4. They're stretching you out. We have to do a great job of being disciplined. Number one, we got to make it a half-court game. We got to keep them out of transition. And then I think, secondly, we got to keep our defense tight. They got to see, like when Shamari Pons has the ball, he should see all 10 sets of eyes on him. And we want to make the paint cluttered and then recover quickly as he drives. You want to recover to the shooters because they are going to shoot a lot of threes, and they got a lot of guys who can shoot them out there.
Travis, when you get to this point and every game feels like it's a do-or-die kind of game for this team, does it add mental pressure, and is that a bad thing, or has it made this team a little more locked in at times?
I don't want to, and I never told our group that it's like a do-or-die situation. We're just going to go out, we're going to swing, we're going to have fun, we're going to compete, we're going to play loose. I don't think it is do or die. There's so many opportunities, I think, with again, I'm sure you're probably talking about, obviously, the NCAA tournament, and I haven't talked about it one time with our team, and not throughout this whole time. And my whole thoughts are, we're going to let our playing do the talk. If we put ourselves in that position, then great. We got opportunities to get good wins. Like obviously St. John's will be a quality win again tomorrow. The Big East tournament, I think, is going to be wide open. I think there's 5 teams tied for third right now. It's a cluster. And we've beaten, the only team that beat us, that swept us in the Big East is Marquette, beating everybody else. So, I think it's not a do-or-die situation. Obviously, we want to play with that desperation, though, right? Because it's a meaningful game. It's like I told Quentin this today. This is what we play for. This is what you work for all off season. Lifting, conditioning, long practices early on in the year. Some losing streaks, some winning streaks, all that stuff is to get to this point where we're playing meaningful basketball in March, and we put ourselves in the position now. Now it's time to go. Now it's time to push. It's not time to slow down now.
Was there a point where you thought, I don't know if we're going to get there, where we can actually be in the conversation, where we can start talking about these games mattering for March potentially? Was there a point where you had doubts about just getting to this point right now?
I didn't even really think about it, like as crazy as that is. I think it was just, just dealing with day to day. And just trying to get better. And obviously, you always want to, again, our program isn't just to make it, it's to advance. And I know that, and our players know that. But, I am proud of our guys for responding. Throughout that 6-game losing streak, to respond the way that they did was really nice to see. It tells you a lot about the character that we have in that locker room. Yeah.
So for your grad transfers, they all came from different programs. For Zach, a different division, had to break some different habits and get used to your system. Where do you think that each of those 3 guys has come the furthest in terms of improvement?
I'll start with Ryan. Ryan, he obviously can really shoot the ball. I think sometimes when you're in a different role than he was when he was at San Jose State, it's a big adjustment. Like at San Jose State, he got a lot more shots, and when the offense is running through you, it's easier to kind of get your rhythm when you take 14 or 15 shots a game. It's easier to get your rhythm. For him to have the impact that he's had, whether it was at Butler, he had 2 threes, whether it was at St. John's, he made 2 threes in a shorter sample size of shots. That's a big adjustment to a shooter. And I don't think probably fans or people probably realize how big of an adjustment that is. And I'm proud of him that he's been able to adjust that way, because I think he's really impacted our team here as of late. Then I also think he's gotten a lot better defensively. He's still got to get a lot better, but he's made significant strides at that end of the floor. I think Zach, You know, Zach is, I think he was noted as kind of as a really good defensive player coming in, around the rim, blocking shots, rim protector. I think he's become a better offensive player. Jonas Hayes done a really good job with him. I didn't think initially that he was going to be a guy that could score the ball on the block with a guy on his back. You know, I knew he could be a pretty good pick and roll player because his athleticism and his speed in his hands. But Jonas has done a really good job. Zach's worked really, really hard at it, you know, using his left hand, right hand around the rim. He's become a much better play-through guy in the low post. And then Kyle, I think Kyle is, I think he's taken more pride in all the things. You know, it's like every level is different. Scoring doesn't always translate, but there's so many different ways to impact the game, whether it's rebounding, whether it's defense, and again, you want guys to, again, impact winning, because there's so many different ways to do it. And I think Kyle's learned that, hey, it's not just scoring, it's not just shots, or is my shot falling? You know, hey, can I do a really good job defensively within the system? Can I rebound the ball? You know, like I remember he had the big tip in. We were up by 3 at St. John's. It was a critical basket for us. He got in there with a little left hand, little tip in against their zone when the shot went up. So just making those winning plays. Kyle's done a really good job of that, and I think he's gotten a lot better.